Apple has finally announced Logic Pro for the iPad, which is a massive breakthrough for beat makers. But will it deliver for composers looking to craft film scores or orchestral pieces? So it does seem like Logic Pro for the iPad does take music production into a whole new era. I think they're trying to convey that this is not just a simplified version of the desktop app, but instead a full-blown music studio right on your iPad. It looks like it has this innovative interface that's all built around the idea of touch. You get the keys of a virtual piano, drum pads, or any other Logic instrument all under your fingertips. You can control hundreds of plugins intuitively using the new plugin tiles feature, and it looks like these are reimagined at-a-glance designs of Logic's powerful stock plugins. Also, because this is on an iPad, navigating had to be simplified to pinch to zoom or even just swipe to scroll. Now, let's say you're a GarageBand user that's brand new to Logic Pro. Importing your GarageBand project is going to be a breeze, and this could be a nice transition to a Pro app without the full deep dive into the Mac version of Logic. Now, your creative process is going to get a major boost with Pro features and workflows. With Apple Pencil and keyboard support, you'll be able to make some detailed edits and automate tracks, which will immensely speed up that workflow. Automating our modulation and expression, breath control, these are all crucial for composers, so I love that you can literally draw it in. Plus, in terms of your workflow, you will be able to jump between Mac and iPad Logic sessions with round-trip compatibility. This is a huge plus for those on the go, but still might prefer working in their studio. The sound library is going to give you a ton of royalty-free sounds, instruments, loops, and patches, and it's continually growing, which will keep your creative flow exciting and fresh. Also, the new predictive filtering system is definitely going to make finding that perfect sound just that much easier. So if you are writing an orchestral piece, I would hope and assume that that predictive filter could find you some strings or brass or woodwinds in the sound library. Logic Pro has always been this playground for shaping and sculpting your music, so it's really great seeing some of these powerful tools and instruments added to the iPad version as well. Sample Alchemy is going to let you transform any audio sample into a playable instrument. You also get access to Logic's comprehensive collection of software instruments and effects, from synths to keyboards, EQs, and reverbs. It's all there. Of course, some of the big selling points for producers might be the quick sampler, step sequencer, and drum machine designer, but you can also totally reshape melodies and rhythms with the new Beat Breaker. And this could be a really cool feature for composers that just need to get more creative with their music. The Pro Mixer feature is going to make adjusting faders and other controls just really intuitive. When I think of Logic on an iPad, I of course think of quick access to faders and sends, so I'm really excited that these are all being incorporated. And it does seem like this is a huge step up from Logic's remote app. And for those who crave even more control, the Track Stacks feature is going to let you consolidate multiple tracks into a single folder or output track. Track Stacks are a must-have for my own orchestral template because they help me keep things organized and simplify the routing for my stems. With Logic Pro for the iPad, you are quite literally holding a world-class studio in your hands. But despite the convenience, it does bring up some questions. Number one, what about the range of third-party plugins? While it does support audio unit extensions, it is unclear how many plugins from top developers are going to be compatible. I'm sure that a ton of third-party plugins and instruments are going to be extremely limited, especially at launch. And though Logic's stock plugins and samples have really come a long way over the past few years, I just don't know too many people that solely rely on them. And it is worth noting that while Logic Pro for the iPad is just a massive step in the right direction, I don't think it's going to replace the macOS version anytime soon. It could very well be a great option for on-the-go composing, but if you already have a MacBook with you, then maybe sticking with the full app might be your best bet. And also, let's talk about the pricing model. For $4.99 a month or $49 a year, it could be a great option for students or just those who are working within a tight budget. However, it does bring into question, is Apple planning on making a shift to the subscription model for the macOS version of Logic Pro, similar to Pro Tools and some other DAWs? If so, I could see this causing some serious problems within the Logic Pro community. I personally do not like subscriptions for any of my music software, so I really hope that this isn't going to be the case. So while Logic Pro for the iPad is just a huge leap forward for mobile music production, it does bring up some caveats and questions for seasoned pros. So to answer the question, is Logic Pro on the iPad a good solution for composers? I'm cautiously optimistic, but yes, I could see this being a robust tool for composers, especially down the line. You're going to get a variety of sophisticated synths and vintage keyboards and acoustic instruments that could very well help with your compositions. But more importantly, the support for third-party plugins also opens up the potential for a larger catalog of additional instruments and effects in the future. Also, the flexibility to move projects between Mac and iPad just gives composers the option to start something on the go and then polish it up later in their studio. With advanced features like detailed automation with Apple Pencil or consolidating tracks into track stacks, this can also provide composers with a hands-on level of control that they might need. So while the iPad version might not replace a full studio setup for most composers, I think people understand that, but it does seem to be a powerful, flexible tool for music creation on the go, making it a valuable addition to a composer's toolkit. Now, with all of that said, and if you're like me that enjoys using your iPad more as an extension of your music making process rather than the main hub, then I just want to share my Composer Plus template for the Touch OSC app. It is a fully digital MIDI controller designed for composers right on your iPad. You can control your modulation and expression, your articulations, mic signals, and effects, all from the swipe or tap of a finger. And it's actually become an absolute game changer for my own composing workflow. So if you are interested in checking it out, I left a link in the description down below. With Logic Pro now on the iPad, we are definitely stepping into an exciting new era of on-the-go music making. Whether you're all in on a mobile music studio or just prefer your main computer setup, the possibilities for composing incredible music are only getting better.